I believe like a lot of really good players, he's a lot more than just a running back. And I think he's a perfect player for the way Kyle and our offensive staff does things. I think he brings a lot more than just running back skills. He's an incredibly accomplished receiver. He's got tremendous feel. He can play with speed. He can play with power. He can play with quickness. He can do it all. And we've seen that firsthand playing against him. You've seen it right up to the last game he played. He's an excellent football player. There's no denying that, and we like adding guys like that to the mix.
To see him on Sunday?
That I just got, brought him in here, got his cleats, got his helmet. I just got off a plane, passed a physical. It's a tall order, right? And we're going to do what's right by Christian, what's right by our team. I do think that's a tall order, but, we'll see how much we can accelerate this. He's asking to. Like he said, you guys will talk to him later. Like, this is just a road game. I've practiced twice this week. I got on a plane. I came out here. I'll leave that to the coaches and whatnot to get Christian up to speed. But, I do think it's a tall order, and we sure love to have him. But it's a lot to ask. So we'll make a very thought-out decision on that as well. Go ahead. Well, I think that will be a coaching decision. We do a lot before the ball's even snapped, so I think there's a lot of layers to that. But a lot of different factors. But I think first and foremost, physically, are you in position? He's scrambling out there to want to get into practice, and you take him to the side. You say, let's make sure we warm up, and let's take this thing step by step. And but every game is so important, so you battle all these things, and you just got to let the right people weigh in and make a good decision for Christian's best interest and for ours as a team.
John, I think part of this, he just can't go to the Rams. Just can't let him go to the Rams.
I'm glad he's not there. And that's always an interesting question, because I always say, hey guys, it's about us. That's how I was raised. That's the way Tony Dungy talked. It's about us. If you're so focused on your opponents, you're not going to do very well. But I also know the fastest way to success in our league is winning your division. And so in part, it seems like a lot of these situations end up where it's us against them in these things. And I'm sure glad he's here and not there.
How long did that auction get yesterday? Was it matter okay, not a great.
Yeah, I wish I was trying to, because I know their propensity to come in late and go big. And so I was trying to get it done before, but that wasn't going to happen. Scott Fitter was tremendous to work with. I think their owner was never on the phone with me, but very involved. And I don't think he much cared how we valued things. I think he's a numbers guy who sees things a certain way. And so we had to be patient, wait it through, and ultimately weigh it at the end of the day if it was a good decision for us. And ultimately we felt it was.
About how much he liked Christian in 2017. Looking back, how close were you guys to doing this at that time?
Oh gosh, there's so many different dynamics. Do you take them there? Do you move back and maybe take them? And ultimately we made the decision we made. But we were joking with him today that we just had to get things right before we brought him in here. So it took 6 years to do that and get everything nice and primed for him. And we got him here, and that's a good thing. It is weird, the connections. I mean, remember vividly throwing balls to Eddie, when I was a quarterback and he was a receiver at Stanford. I remember, being at parties, fraternity parties with Lisa and Ed when they first started dating and things like that. So it goes back, and obviously the Shanahan's dynamics, but this is much bigger than that. Keep saying it, but it is the respect I have for him, having seen our teams play against him and seeing him he's a fabulous football player in every respect. And I think he brings a mindset that we like too. I think he's a fit in every way. The type of mindset, you talk to people who've played with him, who've coached him, there's an accountability that he brings, like the great players do, that has an effect that it's a force multiplier. It makes everyone around him better. And so we're going to take it as it comes. We're not going to force anything. But, all of those things went into us making this decision to try to land him.
been any switch or any change in just the philosophy on how you view running backs? Because it seems like you've had success with undrafted guys, and here in the last 2 years, third-round draft picks invested in running backs, and now this move.
Yeah, we've taken our swings at them, because we feel it's really important to the way we play, and Kyle often says, at the end of last year with Elijah and Debo, we had a Pro Bowl, all-pro type running game, and we're encouraged by some of the younger guys. Jeff Wilson's a heck of a back, as we're seeing, he's getting his opportunity, he's shining. So we like our group. That is a tough position, and we like using them all in a variety of ways. So we just like continuing to add to that dynamic, and I do feel like this guy has an ability to do kind of all of the above, and so not just a running back, we can use him. He and Debo to me are very similar players, and so I'm excited to see what we draw up. But first, we got a lot to focus on with the Chiefs, and so we just got to take this thing step by step. But can't tell you how excited, and the locker room. I think it gave that. I really believe it gave the locker room a jolt when he walked in there today. It was fun to see that dynamic as well.
A lot of rising salary cap. I mean, guys whose cap hits are going to go up quite a bit. I assume you want to keep those with the extension.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
This salary. I mean, do you see right now, as currently constructed, the path forward, or there have to be some financial gymnastics to make it work?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously those things go into it. There's flexibility, there's options, and you take all those things into account. I think we have a plan now. When you add something like this, you can't just keep doing this over and over and over again. But we feel like we can make it work, and we'll go down that. We'll obviously have put a lot of thought into it, but there's going to be some inflection points where we have to figure some things out, and we will. Yeah. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. He is on the field right now. Yeah.
Day with you guys. Usually only like 4 here. All right. Injuries, guys. Armstead will be out. Mooney will be questionable. Huff will be questionable. Go ahead.
How much work did McCaffrey get out there today, and what does he look like he could play something?
He didn't get any. He came out like halfway through practice, so he just got loose. Watched it all, and then our coaches stayed with him after just to get a small workout in and teach him a few things.
How did they then?
I don't know. I didn't talk to him. So I know it's not a physical thing. He's got practice in this week, so we'll get to meet with him whenever you guys let me out of here, and we'll kind of figure it out then.
Can you say what the factors are that go into the decision of whether or not you can play on Sunday?
Just talking to him, like where we would be in the offense and stuff. I got to talk to the other coaches. I mean, this happened last night. It's not like everyone knew it was happening, so it factors into special teams, who we can get up, who's down. There's no way he could be ready to. Anyone can get up and have a limited package, but what happens with an injury and stuff when someone has to go in and do everything, and those are the things we got to really think through.
What excites you the most about the dynamic he adds to your offense?
I don't think there's anything he can't do. Just whether it's in the pass game, the run game, blocking. I think he's a very talented player, and just watching how he plays, he's a very smart player. He always gets to the right hole. It's very smooth, and he's seen that at every level he's played in.
Kind of similar to that question, but John Lynch referred to him as like the perfect player for your system. What makes him the perfect player for your system?
I think he's a real good player in every system. That's John. I think there's a lot. Any really good player is a perfect player for our system. But I do think. He's a very good runner, so he's going to be good in everything. He also has very good hands. He also has separation ability in the pass game. And I also think he's a guy just mentally who can handle a lot. So the more guys can handle, the more you put on him.
You talked in the past about how what the Rams have done is kind of buoyed your confidence in making similar moves to this, and then also trying to keep guys from them. How much did that play into this? And I know it's not the reason, but is it a reason?
It's definitely a bonus. I think everybody would love the opportunity to have a player like Christian, and so I think everyone looks into it. But it's also nice to keep a good player away from a team that we have to compete with year in and year out. So that definitely helps. I think it's not just the Rams, but watching a number of teams over the years. since we've been here, just make trades and stuff, and some work, some don't. But it just wasn't like how I think it was for all of us 10 years ago to go even 15 years ago when that stuff was unheard of. You didn't even discuss it. And it's always a risk in everything you do, and sometimes it's a risk not doing it. But anytime you have examples, like I think we've had a bunch of them, the Rams have given them to us almost every year, the examples, but I watch other teams who have done it too, and you get to make it's nice to watch people do it and see what's good from it, what's bad from it, and that's why I like how I like that it's not how it used to be, and that was always out of the discussion.
John said 3 years ago that John said that his first conversation with Scott Fitterer about Christian was in West Virginia. Do you remember your first conversation with John when it became kind of put on your radar like this is a possibility?
We've mentioned it to each other since probably any of you guys heard about it. I mean, anytime you get close to the trade deadline, I think just media-wise and stuff, there's always 5 names or whatever that come up. So when always that happens, and every friend calls me right away or texts me, or my wife says right away, hey, this guy's available, you got to go get him. You never take it that seriously because it rarely happens. So, but you hear it all and you kind of just soak it in, and then sometimes it gets realer as it gets closer. And I say it was here in just the last, and we talked about it just 3 weeks ago, but I'd say in the last couple of days we started realizing, trying to see a vision where we thought it made sense and thought it was the right thing to do. And so we got a little bit more aggressive as it went, and then John was able to finish it off.
Talk to Bobby Turner about Christian, just to get his opinion of him.
I randomly ask guys. They don't really know why I'm asking. It's kind of casual. It's not like an awkward go close the door and ask him. That'd be obvious, but it's, well, you still like him? Because I know he did in college. What'd you think of him when we played him a couple weeks ago? Just things like that. How do you compare him to people? And then today a lot of them came up to me and understood why I was asking them things.
Someone during the season can be tricky, but you did it 3 years ago with Mosley, and you thought that he had helped you get where you wanted to go. Is this similar to that?
Sanders, yeah. It's all right. Hey, I do that all the time. I think, it all depends on the player. Emmanuel came in and like we hoped, like he looked on tape. He was talented, but he was such a pro in terms of he picked things up fast. If you've played in this league, you can relate to almost everything wherever you go. You got to figure out what people call it. Then you got to understand, like, even though it might be the same play, we call it something different. Do they view it a different way, or they coach it in a different way? Those are the things you got to figure out. And Emmanuel is awesome. He figured it out in a week, and then helped a lot of the other young guys figure it out better who had been here for a while. And I think Christian will be very similar in that way.
You mentioned that you don't do this deal unless you have faith in your roster. I'm assuming that's to win the Super Bowl. Was there, even before Christian's name came up, or even while, were you guys thinking maybe you're one piece away from being a Super Bowl favorite?
No, I don't look at it all that way. I think we got enough players in our building and enough talent that we got a chance. Like I think a number of teams in this league do. I think when you have a chance and things come up, you'd always love to help that chance go up. And when you got a player like Christian, who I believe is a very good player, I think it gives us a much better chance to add him to a group of good players. It helps you overcome maybe some bad things that could happen as you go along that stretch. But I never really look at it as one player away. I think we're a team that has a chance to be real good, but we're not there yet. I think not just our record showing that, but we got to play a lot better ball. And bringing Christian here is definitely not the only thing we're missing. We got to play to our complete ability, which we're not there yet in all 3 phases. I think when we made this trade, similarly, last time we were 6-0. I felt better about where we were at. We still had to get better, but I still think we have that type of team that's got the talent and stuff like that. But we got to improve as we go, and if we do that, and on top of it, you add a better player, it makes things, gives you a much better chance. But I don't think this is something we would look into if we just thought it was just this year. I think Christian, with his contract and stuff, is going to be around here for a little bit, and it's not just a one-year rental.
Your dad coached Christian's dad. Now you're coaching Christian. What's the emotional viewpoint for you of this trade?
Not much. I love his parents. I know Ed and Lisa very well. Knew him well growing up. Didn't know Christian very well. He was so much younger than me. I knew him and his brothers were a problem for my sister. I used to babysit him a lot. But it's been cool just to hear about him back at home and stuff, talking to people from that area, always hearing about the McCaffrey boys. It was just one after another, winning state championships for the football team. And me never really realizing how good they were going to be. But then watching Christian at Stanford and being like, wow, what everyone said was true. And then watching him in the NFL. And I mean, the first thing I told Christian was that this was our plan all along. I think that's why we wanted to build a D-line and build our defense right away, and we knew we'd get him 5.5 years later. So that's why we shouldn't apologize for missing him then.
How close were you to taking him back then?
Not very close. I mean, it was definitely something that it wasn't about him. It was just how we saw the time to build our team, and we were pretty set with our vision of trying to do it defensively at that time.
You gave up a lot to get him, and you're going to pay him a lot of money, and he's probably a middle-aged running back who has had some recent injuries.
How old is he? Not 40. All right.
He's in his 6th season, so.
All right. 5.5.
I don't know if he's going to play 11 years, but okay. I guess, do you view this as any sort of a gamble?
Yeah, I view everything you do as a gamble. I view making trades as a gamble. I view not making trades as a gamble. All depends if you can tell me what's going to happen in the future. So if we would have got a guy as good as Christian with that 2nd-round pick, 3rd-round pick, and 4th-round pick, and 5th-round pick the following year, I'd say, man, what were we doing? But we're never going to know who we would have taken. For every really good pick, there's also not a good one. And what I do like doing is knowing that you're getting the right type of football player who's extremely talented, who is wired the right way. I think, I talk about guys like Bosa, who I feel like have been training for this moment since they were 3 years old, and everything they've done, what they put in their body, how they approach their life was to get to these moments. And I see Christian similar to that. And everything you do in this business is a gamble, but if you're going to gamble, I want to first of all do it with talent, and I want to do it with character, and when I mean football character, and I see that very strong with this guy.
John mentioned in the locker room there was a little extra jolt when Christian walked in the locker room. Did you feel a little extra excitement or juice today on the practice?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, just all the guys hitting me up last night when they saw it. So I know our team was real pumped about it. I know our defense just having to go against him. They knew he was good on tape, and then that was what I heard about from them the most after they played him, that he was much harder to tackle in person too. And just how pumped the offensive guys were hitting me up last night. So I think our team is excited about it. But, I mean, like I told our team today, that this is all we need. We need the guys in our room to get as good as they can, and to be hard on themselves every single day, because we got to win some games. And if we do, I know we got a guy that's come here who can really help us.
History with the McCaffrey family, and just your I guess him being a known quantity make him even more attractive to what you know he could do to the locker room and just on the field.
Yeah, I think it's always, I mean, it's always a gamble and stuff, but you definitely got to be sure about the talent, but then you never know about the person, and it's very hard to really know a person. So you got to go with all that stuff and just knowing his family, knowing a lot of people who've been around him a bunch, whether it's growing up, whether it's people who are with him at Stanford, people who I've coached with who were with him in Carolina. Former players. There's not one person I talk to who doesn't say the same thing, and that's also the way that it just looks from afar, just watching on your own. So I think all that stuff helps you a lot when you're trying to make tough decisions.
Christian adding an element to the offense in terms of his skill set that wasn't there already, or do you just see him adding another good player to a group of good players?
I think we got good running backs. I think we got good receivers. And I think we got good blockers. And I think Christian's pretty good at all three of those. So maybe he's got the best combination of them all. I think Debo does that pretty good too. But I think we got a lot of guys who can do a few different things. And it's just when the more guys you can get like that, the more you're not as dependent on injuries, the more that you don't have to force things to certain people. And the more I feel like every single guy, whether it's a receiver, a tight end, a running back, a quarterback, you don't have to sit there and focus on targets, stats. There's a lot of good guys out there. Just play football, do your best, and we'll see how it unfolds, because I don't think there's one guy out there you got to force anything to. I think all of them have a chance to help us win.
How much farther does Ufanga have to go to get through concussion protocol?
He's got to pass one other step tomorrow. Brett won't be up this week. We had to make a decision next week. He's still the same. He's in a man.
The cliche is that the coach is the one saying, get the guy, I don't care what it costs. And the GM, maybe because he runs the draft, is a little more cautious. Was that sort of the way this was?
No. I think I'm always really excited to go do things like that. But then as soon as I see it's a possibility, then you're going to hear from me every single thing that's wrong about it. And then that's just my process on things. So I always try to hit both sides with it, and you try to hash it out. And because it is exciting, it's real exciting, but just like Branch let me know, there's gambles and everything. And so that's why I know how this league works, and I'm not at all that way as a coach. I am at times, but I always try to balance it out and make sure when you end up doing it, it's not the thing that just excites you or excites fans. It's the thing that you believe in now and you believe in later. And I know I feel that way. All right, guys, thanks.